Wholeness, everyone, and welcome to another edition of We Meditate. I am your host, Ahmad Brown, and today I want to talk to you about the principle of life is a frequency. Life is a frequency, and so when we talk about life frequency, I actually want to break down that word for a moment, because a lot of us are in this new age type of spirituality. Where we're talking about frequencies and, levels of consciousness and things of that nature. However, many of us are just kind of using those words because they sound really cool. However, they actually do have very significant meaning, and they do have very deep levels of truth. And so I want to really break that down for you from a couple of levels, scientifically and again allegorically. And I'll deal with the Christian scriptures, a couple of them. Because that's how I was brought up, and I know that there's truth inside of those things. We know how to look at them from a esoteric and conscious level, not from just a pure religious level. And so, nevertheless, knowing that life is a vibration, life is a frequency. If you were to Google a picture right now of a frequency, just type in the word frequency and go to the picture section, you will see what it looks like. We're talking about like a basic radio wave here. And when we look at that picture, we will see, if we just follow from the beginning to the end of the picture, it's almost like a it's almost like a roller coaster, where we start and then it goes up, tick, 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 and then it goes down. And then the process essentially repeats itself over and over and over again. And so based on the frequency level, it will show how frequently or how fast we go up and down, this chain of events, so to speak. And again, if we raise the intensity of a frequency, it will show how far up and how far down all of these things will go. And essentially, when I mean intensity, I'm talking about the loudness of it, or how much vibration this frequency has. And so, again, I'm gonna break that down for you when we talk about how it relates to life. But just looking at it from a picture aspect, we can start to begin to see the ebb and flow of what a frequency is. If we are here in physicality, we are essentially operating on time. We're operating in what's called like a progression of events. And so as we move through the progression of our events, our life will send us on the cycle. And the cycle is the frequency in and of itself, meaning that life will have its ups and life will have its downs. It does not matter who you are or what you are. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. Life will throw things at you that are always unexpected. Now, you can always, use your power to either best ride that change or, use your power to actually like change the event in and of itself. But you will only be able to do so when the event actually happens. And even if you are a person who can has the ability to change the future, the simple fact that it's going to happen in the future denotes that there's going to be a change of frequency. So essentially just an inevitable aspect of what we're experiencing here in 3D. So a frequency, again, is just the ebb and flow of what movement is. And so frequency is that, and the intensity of the frequency is the vibration, and the vibration is actually how loud it is. And so again, I will break that down for you. And so when we actually are in life, we have what's called a mountaintop. You ever heard of the mountaintop experience? A mountaintop experience is when we've reached a certain level of life in whatever season that our life is flowing on. We are on the top half of our vibrational frequency, meaning that whatever events that we have done, either it be from like our actual physical work or simply just the timing of the events of our life script that we have constructed, we are at the top just for a short period of time. And so we are at a mountaintop experience. However, that will only last for a certain amount of time. And once we are at that mountaintop, we actually have to come down. And so after we come down, we begin a descent into a valley. And so this particular valley is more of a lean time of life where things are not just going as well as simply as that vibrant time. If we actually look at it from business, for example, all businesses know that they have a vibrant season and they have a low season. Most businesses, if they've been if they've been doing business for a certain amount of time, they know that let's just say, you operate a pool, for instance. Let's keep it very simple here. If you operate a pool, you already know 80% of your business that's going to keep you afloat for the whole year is going to come in the spring and the summer. For basically 4 or 5 months, 80% of your income is going to be generated, because then when the fall and the winter comes, no one's coming to the pool because it's too late. I mean, it's too cold, but your business is still going to remain open. So you have to plan accordingly for the change of frequency for the change in amount of frequency of customers that's going to come. And so as the frequency of customers comes, that will influence how much money is generated. And when there are more people coming in frequently, it usually raises the intensity or the activity that generates all of this income. And so this is essentially how life works. When we talk about frequencies and things of that nature, we're looking at the various changes of intensity of moments and the frequency of moments, and how those things help us move, or how those things slow us down in our movements. And so we could actually get a whole bunch of things from our mountaintop experiences. When we are in our mountaintop experiences, this is when we generally have the ability to do the most or see the most. If we look at it from just the proximity standpoint, if you were to actually climb a mountain, you don't even got to be a big mountain. If you were to just climb a hill, go on a hill trek somewhere, and you finally reach the apex of that particular hill, where when you're at the top, you can see so much more of that forest that you walk through, or you can see so much more of the land. Or like, let's just say if you go into a very tall skyscraper and you go up to the top and you're looking out the window from a penthouse, you can see the whole city. And so this is what a mountaintop will do. A mountaintop will actually put you on a level of life where you have more access to see. You can see more things that are happening. And so in our consciousness, we can actually have mountaintop experiences where we raise up our vibration, we raise up our intensity, and essentially by doing spiritual work, where we can raise up our conscious awareness to where we have now a bird's eye view of what's going on the spiritual plane, or what's going on in our spiritual life. Like I said, we don't even have to get all astral with it. Just talking about for self-empowerment, we could actually have a much better understanding of what is going on with our life, why things are the way they are. Because when we do the work to look inside, and go up the chain of Kundalini, or climb up our spine and go back into our corpus callosum, go back to our brain, connect with our higher self will look back down on you and be like, yeah, this is a mess because you left this over here. This is a mess because you left that over there. And it's simply because you could see it. Like, just imagine being on top of a hill and you, let's say you're walking through the forest and you know that there's a fire because you can smell the smoke. But while you're walking through the fire, walking through the wilderness, you don't know, you can't necessarily tell where that fire is at. But if you were to climb up the mountain at the edge of the forest and look down upon the forest, you can see where the source of the fire is because you have that perspective. And so now that you have that perspective, you know exactly where to go, how to fix a problem, how to fix an issue. And so this is what it's talking about by raising up your vibration. When people talk about raising up their vibration, we're not talking about doing magic. We're not talking about, I don't know, just turning yourself into a magician. I mean, you could do those sorts of things, but really realizing that a magician or a sorcerer, or some type of Wiccan, some person in that aspect, they're just a person who's gone up the ladder and raised their consciousness and raised up their vibrational frequency to where that they could see more. And so now that they could see more, they can do more. So when they raise themselves up, they can see where an issue is and they can see if it's coming. And so then they could prepare themselves accordingly to either withstand the impact or completely change that event once it arrives. And so we can do the same thing for ourselves. Like, again, we can do it spiritually by going looking internally and essentially just doing whatever spiritual work is required. Again, it's different for every person, but, we can go do, internal psychoanalysis. We can pick up Jungian philosophy and deal with the archetypes that's inside of our brain. We can study singularity and break through the divisions of the brain. What else can we do? We can go see, a shaman and have a shaman, go back with us in some life events. We can go see a psychologist, and a psychologist walk through our birthing moment and our childhood and things of that nature. We can do some very practical things to bring ourselves back into a point of singularity so that we can climb up higher. But once we climb up higher, though, we now have the responsibility. And so, again, when you raise up your intensity, raise up your level, you have to be doing it for a reason. You need to have a reason for going up and be able to see the wilderness, because you need to try to save it. And again, I'm not talking about save the wilderness like save the world. I'm talking about saving yourself, because when you do the process of saving yourself, you are, in fact, saving a part of the world. And so this is why you must raise your vibrational frequency, so you can become an active agent of healing yourself. And as you become an active agent of healing yourself, you can begin to show off yourself from this higher sense of awareness, from this higher place. You can literally stand up there and wave, saying, hey, everybody, look at me up here. Look at all of the benefits I have from being on top. And you can instruct from that place. And once you instruct from that place, you can show other people how to get to their own mountaintop. Show people how to look for themselves so that they can get to their own mountaintop. And then once enough people get there, you got a whole community of people who've raised their conscious level, and then that continues to expand. And so when we do that, we are truly living from a higher frequency. We are truly living from a higher vibration. I'm doing it right now. That's why I'm on this tape sharing it with you. It's not because I'm some special type of person, but because I went and did a whole lot of work to raise up my awareness, which enabled me to be in this position to be strong enough to speak, and to speak from a level of consciousness, not just from a level of religion. And I'm doing so not because I want to just show myself off, because there's no benefit that I get from sitting here on a YouTube video, sharing this with you. If whatever profits I get, it's like freaking nickels. And the reason why I'm doing it is because I know that we all have to. I know that we all have to get back to this higher vibrational frequency where we have an intense life, a life of intensity, a life of depth, a life where we essentially are not just going through the motions of of frequency, where we're just letting life go by up and down, like, oh, it's winter again, let's put on our coats. Oh, it's summer again, let's go to the pool. And I mean that on the abstract term, just with our life changes. I'm talking about where we can be at the intensity of life where we are enjoying and maximizing everything that happens, whether it is a summer or whether it is a winter in our life. Whichever season comes, we are extracting energy from it. We are extracting wisdom from it. We are extracting experience from it. We are extracting health from it. We are extracting wealth from it. We are able to get something out of all of the events that are happening in our life. And so I'll end it here with just an example of the scripture, or where it is in the Bible, where we're talking about the heightened awareness of vibrational frequencies and what it can do and why we're still responsible for doing it. If we look at Matthew 17 in the Bible, New Testament, we are looking at the example of Yeshua having his transfiguration. And so when Yeshua has his transfiguration in Mount 17, Matthew 17, he and a couple of the disciples had to literally change their proximity. They had to go up to a mountaintop. They had to leave out of the land that they were and go to an exclusive place that was geographically higher. This geographic height is no more than an allegorical symbol of the raising of consciousness. And so while they were at that allegorical height, or while they were up on that mountaintop, Jesus, being in a higher awareness, unveiled his higher awareness self to the couple of people who were ready to see it. And when he did so, other people who have done so showed up. When he did it, Moses and Aaron showed up on the side of him. These were other gentlemen who were documented in the Hebrew cosmology to have gone away into a higher geographical zone, which again is the allegory for raising up of their spiritual awareness, raising up of their consciousness, and from that perspective, gaining the necessary insight and ability to see the wilderness around them, to see the fires, to see what quote unquote needs to be saved. And not only did they do so, they actually did something about it. So yes, as we know the history of Jesus, or the story of Jesus, he did something about it by quote unquote giving his life. When the people who were around him, Moses too went to the mount, spoke to Yahweh, and from the inspiration of Yahweh, got his people out of Egypt. He raised his consciousness and did something about it. We're talking about Aaron. Aaron is the one who followed and actually got the people into the promised land. So we have to realize that these examples that we're seeing again are just allegorical reflections of what can take place for us. It talks about how we go up to the mountaintop and spend the time in our own self, in our own psyche, in our own consciousness, and only deal with people who are able to deal with us there, who can help us interpret what is going on, who have the ability to see what we're trying to see. Once we get that connection and we get that transformation that takes place, we have to then return down. We have to follow the ebb and flow of life. We have to go up from the mountaintop of our consciousness and then come back down to people who have no idea what consciousness even is, to people who don't know how to deal with, the problems that are going on with their lives, the people who feel like they have no power over their lives. We have to come back down and break the illusion or the delusion that people operate in and share what a high vibrational frequency is like, to share what the high conscious level is like, and share the knowledge that says once you get there, you can be self-empowered to break the chains of lower frequency, to break the chains of a lack of life, to break the chains of essentially being stuck in the ebb flow of life and walking to the power and ability that you have to change your life. And so this is how frequencies work, and this is how we could actually begin to get into changing it. And so we can do so by using the vehicle that we walk our life purpose for. So once we raise our vibrational frequency and our intensity and we can see what we're supposed to do with our life, we come back down and we go do it. So if you're supposed to be an actor, go act, but act from your higher consciousness. If you're supposed to be a teacher, go teach, but teach from your higher consciousness. If you're supposed to do whatever it is that you're supposed to do it from that higher conscious awareness. And when you're doing it, your life will be at a huge amount of intensity and sensitivity and depth that will bring lots of fulfillment, and then you'll rub it off on everybody that you encounter, which will help them begin the process of expanding their own lives too. And so this is how vibrational frequency works, and this is how it works for you. I am Ahmad Brown, aka Son of Pharaoh. This is We Meditate. Wholeness and blessings to you all.